In the late 1990s, music was untouchable. You wanted a song? You paid for it. On CD, in a store, owned by a record label worth billions. Then, almost overnight, one teenager changed everything. He didn't mean to destroy the music industry. He just wanted to make it easier to find songs online. But his creation would ignite a digital revolution. A revolution that would burn through record companies, courtrooms, and cultures, and leave behind a world where music was suddenly free. This is the story of Napster, the dream that connected millions, changed everything, and forgot to get paid. Welcome to Missed Billions Explained, the show where we uncover billion-dollar mistakes, vanished empires, and the brilliant chaos behind the world we live in today. If you love stories of rebellion, genius, and the thin line between vision and disaster, make sure to subscribe, because this one is the story of how music became data. Our story starts in 1998 in a small Massachusetts dorm room. Sean Fanning was 18, quiet, shy, and obsessed with code. He'd grown up surrounded by music and frustration. Finding songs online was a nightmare. You had to trawl through random forums, click broken links, and pray the file was real or not a virus. So one night he had a thought. What if people could just share music directly from each other's computers? A peer-to-peer network. No middlemen, no servers, just pure human connection through data. He called it Napster, after his high school nickname, Napster because of his scruffy hair. Sean Fanning teamed up with his uncle, John Fanning, and a friend named Sean Parker, a 19-year-old with charisma, vision, and a nose for chaos. Together, they built something that wasn't just software, it was liberation. By early 1999, Napster exploded. At first, it spread through college campuses, then through the world. It was simple. Download the app, type in a song, and seconds later, you had it. Every track you could imagine, free, instant, unlimited. Students traded MP3s like currency. Hard drives became treasure chests of sound. The internet suddenly felt alive. Within a year, Napster had over 60 million users. To put that in perspective, that's more people than lived online at all just a few years earlier. Napster was more than a program, it was a movement. People called it the Woodstock of the internet, the first true social network, long before Facebook existed. For millions, it felt like music finally belonged to the people again. But there was one tiny problem. No one was paying for any of it. The record industry was in full panic. Their billion-dollar business model, physical sales, exclusive distribution, was collapsing. Every MP3 download was a lost sale. Every Napster user was a pirate. The Recording Industry Association, the RIAA, called it theft on a global scale. And soon, one of the biggest bands in the world decided to make an example. Metallica. When they discovered an unreleased track, I Disappear, had leaked on Napster before its official release, they sued. The lawsuit made headlines worldwide. Metallica versus Napster. The rock gods versus the rebels. Fans were furious. They saw Metallica as greedy and out of touch. But from the band's perspective, Napster wasn't freedom, it was theft. Their message was simple. If our music has value, someone has to pay for it. But by then, the world had already changed. Napster wasn't a company anymore. It was a belief system. By 2000, Napster had become the ultimate symbol of digital rebellion. Students were skipping classes just to download songs. Office workers secretly traded playlists during lunch breaks. Entire college networks were crashing from bandwidth overload. And the company, now backed by venture capital, was trying to figure out what it had created. Sean Fanning was on the cover of Time magazine. He wore a hoodie. He looked like the future. But behind the fame, chaos ruled. Napster had no clear business model, no legal strategy, no way to pay artists. Sean Parker wanted to partner with the record labels to turn piracy into a platform. But the industry didn't want peace. They wanted control. The RIAA hit Napster with dozens of lawsuits, demanding it shut down or pay billions in damages. In response, Napster's users fought back online, spreading memes, fake songs, and protest remixes. It was art versus authority, youth versus the establishment, the internet versus the old world. And the old world was about to strike back hard.
In July 2001, Napster lost in court. A judge ruled that it was responsible for the copyright violations of its users. The order was devastating. Napster had to block every copyrighted file shared on its network, which was almost every file. Overnight, the app went dark. Servers unplugged. Tens of millions of users left adrift. The company filed for bankruptcy shortly after. Fanning stepped down, Parker was pushed out, and the name Napster became digital legend, a ghost of the revolution that started it all. But the irony? Shutting Napster didn't stop music piracy. It just scattered it. Within months, clones appeared everywhere: LimeWire, Kazaa, BearShare, eMule. Each one more chaotic, more uncontrollable than the last. The genie was out of the bottle, and the music industry could never put it back. The collapse of Napster created a vacuum and opportunity. In 2003, Apple stepped in with iTunes. For 99 cents, you could finally buy music legally, fast, clean, simple. It felt like Napster, but grown up. Steve Jobs sold the same dream, but with the approval of the record labels. Then, a few years later, came the real evolution: streaming. Spotify and YouTube took Napster's core idea, instant, universal access, and finally made it profitable. Ironically, the companies that learned from Napster's failure became billion-dollar empires. Spotify's founders even said it directly: "We wanted to create the legal version of Napster." And they did. Napster's DNA lives inside every playlist, every algorithm, every stream. They didn't just change how people listened to music, they changed what music was. But what if Napster had survived? What if they'd struck a deal early with the labels? What if they charged just a few cents per song, or run ads, or offered a premium version? They already had 60 million users. Even $1 per month per user would have made them profitable beyond belief. They could have been the first true digital empire, the Spotify of 1999. But Napster wasn't built by businessmen. It was built by idealists. And idealists rarely win wars against industries that own everything. The tragedy of Napster is that it won the cultural war, but lost the financial one. They changed history, but didn't get paid for it. Napster's fall wasn't about piracy. It was about timing. They were too right, too soon. They built a product everyone wanted, but the world around them wasn't ready to adapt. The record labels saw a threat. Apple saw an opportunity. And that's the difference between a revolution and a business. Because in the end, Napster's failure wasn't technological. It was strategic. They gave away the future for free, and everyone else got rich selling it back to us. Napster was the spark that set the music industry on fire. It burned fast, bright, and beautifully. It changed how we think about music, ownership, and connection. And even though it died young, its echo still plays every time you press play. Because Napster didn't just share songs, they shared freedom. Thanks for watching Missed Billions Explained. If you enjoyed this story, hit like, subscribe, and tell us which fallen empire or forgotten genius you want next. Because somewhere out there, right now, another kid in a bedroom is about to change the world, and no one's ready to pay for it.